Paste your script here. Title: Drake put rap beef on trial. The biggest rap battle of a generation did not end on a record. It ended in federal court. Drake sued Universal Music Group over Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us. He said the company published and promoted a track built around a false and devastating accusation. Then a federal judge dismissed the case. But the reason is bigger than Drake. Bigger than Kendrick. Bigger than one diss song. The court looked at the language of rap battle and ruled that a reasonable listener would hear hyperbole and opinion, not factual reporting. Think about that. For decades, rappers have watched prosecutors pull lyrics out of songs and present them as evidence of real intent, real affiliation, even real violence. But when one of the most famous rappers alive asked a civil court to treat a rival's lyrics as a factual attack, the context of rap protected the song. So what are rap lyrics in America? Evidence when the state wants a conviction? Entertainment when an artist wants protection. This is the story of the moment rap beef entered a courtroom, the case Drake actually made, the claims the judge rejected, and the appeal that could still change the ending. First, strip away the internet mythology. Drake did not sue Kendrick Lamar. He sued UMG Recordings, the company connected to the release and promotion of the track and also part of the corporate system behind Drake's own music. His amended complaint brought claims for defamation, harassment, and deceptive business practices under New York law. The complaint alleged that UMG knowingly published and promoted language implying Drake had sexual relationships with minors. Drake denied that accusation. He argued that the campaign around the song pushed the message far beyond the original rap battle and into mainstream culture. His filing pointed to the Grammys and the 2025 Super Bowl halftime show. It alleged reputational and economic harm. It also repeated allegations that the song's popularity had been artificially amplified. Those were Drake's allegations. They were not findings of fact. That distinction matters, because the court never held a trial on whether UMG secretly engineered the record's success. The case was dismissed at the pleading stage. On October 9, 2025, United States District Judge Jeanette Vargas issued a 38-page opinion. Her central question was not whether the insult was severe. She called the accusation serious. The question was whether a reasonable listener, hearing the song in its full context, would understand the challenged words as verifiable statements of fact. The judge said no. The opinion described Not Like Us as full of profanity, trash talk, violent imagery, figurative language, and hyperbole. It placed the track inside a 16-day exchange in which Drake and Kendrick released 8 diss records filled with escalating accusations. In that setting, the court concluded, the audience expects rhetorical combat. Not a police report. Not sworn testimony. Not investigative journalism. That context destroyed the defamation claim. And it created a brutal contradiction. Rap has spent years arguing that lyrics are art. Persona. Exaggeration. Storytelling. Prosecutors should not treat every bar as a confession. In Drake's case, that same principle protected the diss record from his lawsuit. The shield worked. Just not for the rapper asking to use it. There is another detail most headlines skipped. Drake's case was not only about defamation. He also claimed harassment under a New York criminal statute. The judge ruled that the statute did not give him a private civil right to sue. And his deceptive practices claim failed for separate reasons. The court found that the complaint did not plausibly allege a deceptive scheme to inflate the song's popularity. It also found that Drake had not adequately alleged the kind of consumer-oriented harm required by New York's general business law. That does not mean a court proved every stream was organic. It means Drake's allegations, as pleaded, were not enough to move the case forward. That is a much narrower statement. It is also the honest one. Then Drake appealed. The case is now before the United States Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit. In January 2026, Drake filed his opening brief. UMG answered in March. Drake filed a reply in April. As of July 26, 2026, the public appellate docket shows the appeal remains open. Drake's argument is that the lower court treated disputed context as settled too early. His team says the song reached millions of people outside the original battle, including audiences at the Grammys and the Super Bowl, and that the court should not have decided the factual meaning of the statements before discovery. UMG's answer is almost the exact opposite. It argues that context is the whole point. A diss track inside a public war of words is the kind of setting where listeners expect insults, provocation, and exaggeration. UMG says the district judge applied established law and got it right. The appellate court has not yet decided who wins that argument. If Drake wins the appeal, that would not automatically prove defamation. It could revive some or all of the case and send it back for further proceedings. If UMG wins, the dismissal stands. That uncertainty is not a weakness in this story. It is the tension. Because both sides are fighting over who gets to define the listening context. Drake says mass promotion transformed a battle record into a global factual accusation. UMG says global distribution did not erase the obvious language of rap beef. And somewhere between those positions sits every artist who builds a career on lines that are half persona, half threat, half theater. Yes, that is three halves. That is the problem. Rap sells ambiguity. The listener is supposed to feel that the story might be real. The artist is supposed to have room to say it is performance. The label profits from the tension. The platform rewards the argument. Then the legal system arrives and demands a clean category. Fact or opinion. Threat or metaphor. Biography or character. But rap's commercial power often comes from refusing to choose. That is why this case matters beyond celebrity. If a court treats battle rap as protected rhetorical combat, artists gain breathing room to attack, exaggerate, and perform without every insult becoming a defamation trial. But the same logic can leave a target without a civil remedy even when millions repeat the accusation outside the music. And if courts begin treating heavily promoted diss lyrics as factual assertions, labels and artists could face a new level of legal risk every time a battle record crosses into mainstream advertising, awards shows, or global broadcasts. Either direction changes the incentives. There is also a deeper cultural question. Who receives the benefit of rap's ambiguity? When lyrics are used against less powerful defendants, context can disappear. A character becomes a confession. A metaphor becomes intent. A video prop becomes evidence of affiliation. Here, the district court did the opposite. It studied genre, sequence, tone, and audience expectation. It refused to isolate the accusation from the battle around it. That method is exactly what artists and free expression advocates have demanded in criminal cases. The uncomfortable truth is that a consistent rule will not always produce the outcome your favorite artist wants. If context protects rap, it must sometimes protect an enemy's diss. If lyrics can be factual enough to support civil liability, prosecutors will notice that too. There is no clean victory. Only trade-offs. So no, the judge did not rule that the accusation about Drake was true. The judge ruled that, in context, a reasonable listener would not understand the diss track as conveying verifiable facts. No, the court did not prove a streaming conspiracy. It ruled that the complaint did not plausibly plead the deceptive scheme and consumer harm required for that claim. And no, the legal fight is not over. The appeal remains pending. Drake put rap beef on trial and lost the first round. Now the Second Circuit must decide whether the courtroom treated the audience like listeners of a battle or consumers of a corporate message. That decision could redraw the line between art and allegation. Until then, the most important verdict belongs to the culture. Should rap lyrics be treated consistently in every courtroom? Comment one word, context. And if you want documentaries that separate the court record from the internet story, subscribe to Behind